What is up, my veggies? My name is VTR, and welcome back to another movie review. And today we're going to be reviewing something very, very interesting. An American pickle. I know, weird, right? Weird title. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and go out and off the top of my head and say, give the plot synopsis. The movie is about this guy that winds up accidentally getting pickled for 100 years and then wakes up in modern day New York, Brooklyn or whatever, and and he's learning about, and he starts starting a pickle business, and a whole bunch of other hijinks ensue. And that's basically it, the story. There's a lot more to it, but there's also not a lot more to it. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense, but I'm going to go and explain myself a little bit with this. This is the very first HBO Max original, I do believe. And I hate that it took me this long to watch it, because this is such an interesting movie. Going into this, I was expecting a silly, over-the-top Seth Rogen comedy. But I believe this wasn't even done by the company that does most of Seth Rogen's movies. I'm pretty sure it wasn't done by them. So that was a shock to me when I first booted up the movie and didn't see that logo. Because a lot of those movies I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, Seth Rogen's fine, but like a lot of those movies I'm just not a big fan of. Maybe I'll look into some of them in the future. I don't know if we've ever reviewed any Seth Rogen movies on the channel before, besides the Lion King remake. Regardless if we have or haven't, I was very much surprised by what this movie winds up doing. This could have gone a lot more than I thought it was going to be, and I was hoping for a movie that's mostly, we don't need a big grand story, which it really isn't a big grand story. It's a comedy, but it's got these serious moments that make sense. And like a lot of the stuff that this character from back in the day, his name was it Harold or something like that, or Henry, or what was it called again? I don't remember what it was called, what his name was. Crap, I just watched the movie. What was his name? Herschel. Herschel is the one from the past, and this is exactly what I would imagine a person like this, back and from that time in that area and that coming into modern day, it's exactly the stuff I would think that kind of person would say and be confused about. It's really an interesting concept. And then, obviously, things that he's going to say are not going to swing with some people. And that's such an interesting concept. And the movie does it so well. And even with the comedy stuff, it's not like him freaking out about all the, and him acting like, ooh, look at this, a smartphone. There's not much scene, like, you show him with confusion and stuff, but he's like, understanding, like, this stuff is new. The world has progressed. And like a lot of his old ways of thinking are there, but a lot of people are like, hey, things have changed. And he kind of doesn't get that. And there's like a scene in the movie where they're like talking to him and they're like, he's like, well, what do you think about this? He's like, I don't know what's going on. And they think he's talking about the situation in the movie, like what he's being interviewed about. And he's like, no, literally, I don't know what is going on. Where am I? What is all this stuff? Like, that's good comedy there. I was expecting to think this was stupid. And this is a dumb concept. The way it's done is so dumb, but in a good way. And I'm not meaning like this is so bad it's good. It's such a funny concept and such a dumb concept of film, and the fact that this movie is able to take its comedy and doesn't go overboard. There's no gross out humor. There's no over the top jokes. I don't even remember that being that much swearing in the movie, which is great. I don't remember the movie's rated. It's only rated PG-13. The comedy is very good. Some of the stuff is like, I watched this with a couple friends, and it's legit just one of those movies where I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying like every second of it. Like, this is an enjoyable film. Like, not saying this is like the best movie ever made or anything. And not to mention, most of the time with the movie, it's mostly just the main two characters. Yeah, they interact with other people and stuff, but they're not real. There's no really any other like side characters or anything like that. Like, yeah, there are other characters that are here, but they're not important. This is about these two characters, and like we see other characters, we meet other characters, but they're not important at all. These two characters are the main thing that is revolving this movie. And some of the comedy works really nice. It's not over the top. It's not ridiculous. It's not really, really stupid. Like, it works. And that's coming from someone who's just, I don't watch a lot of Seth Rogen movies and everything, and I'm not a big fan of some of the ones I've watched. But this, I don't know how much involvement he had with this movie. This right here, he was the producer. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, but it's definitely, it hits hard moments good, and like, you want to see what these characters are going to do and the way they'll react to certain situations. And legit, it's funny. Like, there's this scene where he says something wrong and he gets chased by a mob. Like, it's funny, and it's a lot of these things like, and you feel bad for them in certain scenes, and like also you feel like, yeah, and literally, I don't know if this is a spoiler, but literally the dude, I made a joke while watching the movie, was like, because the dude goes on Twitter and says stuff that really, and I literally make the joke saying he got canceled. I was like, oh, he's gonna get canceled. Like that whole cancel culture and everything, and saying it as a joke. And literally about like 2 minutes later, there's someone holding up a sign that say Herschel is canceled. I was like, oh my goodness. Like, that made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. I paused the movie, busted out laughing. It was that enjoyable, and I really wish I had more of my friends. I only watched this with like two of my friends, and halfway through one of them left, and then like 30 minutes later the other one left. So I had to finish the movie by myself. But they had other stuff they had to go do. But like, if you want, this is a movie you can watch by yourself. If you want to watch it by yourself, like, I feel like this is one of those movies where it's good to watch with friends or by yourself. There's a lot to riff on, but it's still a decent movie. It's actually good. It's a freaking good movie, and I enjoyed it. And I hate that it took me this long to watch it. And it's very entertaining, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And like, the comedy works, the characters work. Like, there's, now don't get me wrong, there's some moments that is like if I had to pick any like in particular negatives, it's just some of the jokes just don't make me laugh. But the thing is, that's mostly all I can say. Like, I'm invested with this story the whole time going, and there's not even much of a story going. It's like these two living their lives, and like there's occasionally some conflict, and like one guy's thing's going good and the other guy's isn't. And it's it's just the fact that they're both from two completely different times. And the way they adjust to each other, and the way the guy from back in the day, he tries to adjust to modern day, is so interesting. And like, I like that they didn't try to do some big elaborate finale for this movie, which this didn't need, which they could have clearly done. There are so many movies out there that would do this concept and make it something ridiculous and over the top. And this is ridiculous and over the top. Just, it doesn't go that far, which is a really nice way to look at a movie like this. And I actually really, really enjoyed it. I'd love to know what you guys thought of this movie. And I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 5. I don't think it's a perfect movie, or I would give it a 5. But it's definitely a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed this movie, but the one thing that surprises me is that audience score for this is only 45%, but the critic score is 72. I believe 75 and higher is certified fresh, so it's not far from being fresh. And from what I didn't look at any really reviews, but it's really enjoyable. Like a lot of what I enjoy, it's got some great scenes and like it does have its rocky moments. Not gonna lie to you there. But when it does have these moments, you're still enjoying it. You're enjoying every second of whatever's going on. Alright, whether it be the emotional moments or the comedy. So I'd love to know what you guys thought about this in the comments. I enjoyed the movie a lot. But next review, be looking out for my review of Spree. It's a horror movie that came out last year, so gonna get you a review of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.